but the officer knocking him out cold. After successfully escaping, Kane ambushed a man at an ATM. The scene shifted. Kane had changed into the man's clothes. A few days later, Kane showed up at Lincoln's bar. The doorman refused him entry, saying it was a members-only establishment. Kane didn't waste words. He unleashed a clean, brutal combo and took down both guards. He then walked up to the bar and told the bartender to make him anything. A few gang members were chatting nearby. They were discussing how one of their subordinates had been killed 2 days ago. In response, Lincoln had imposed a gang-wide curfew. No one was allowed out at night.
That nutter killed Rook. Did you hear what happened to him? Oi, Cho, come and tell Vernier what happened to you and Rook.
According to Toon, that night he was out selling hallucinogenic mushrooms when a strange figure suddenly appeared across the street, staring directly at them. Rook intended to confront the guy and teach him a lesson, but ended up having his arm severed. Toon grabbed his gear and chased after the attacker, who panicked and ran away. He followed him through several streets but couldn't catch up. The madman was just too fast. When Toon returned, Rook was already dead, blood everywhere, and the severed arm was missing. Clearly Toon was lying. Kane then told a different version of the story. The first half of Toon's account was true. Kane had stood tall in the shadows, eyes fixed on them with the gaze of a predator. Rook approached, trying to drive him away. But Kane revealed an axe hidden in his sleeve and suddenly chopped off Rook's arm. Terrified, Toon abandoned his friend and ran for his life. Ashamed of his cowardice, he later made up the story to make himself sound tougher. Toon was furious, but he still didn't understand. If Kane had killed one of their own, why would he boldly show up on their turf? Just then, the doorman regained consciousness and stormed into the bar, ready to attack Kane. Kane didn't flinch. With another round of brutal strikes, he took both men down again. Then he pulled out a double-barreled shotgun and fired a warning shot into the ceiling, causing the gang members to scatter in fear. Kane then forced them to reveal Lincoln's whereabouts. Hearing the noise, Hyde stepped out of his office and barked at his men for making such a racket. But when he saw Kane clearly, he realized something was wrong. In his memory, Kane didn't look like this, and besides, he was supposed to still be in prison. The truth is now undeniable. Kane has escaped from prison.
The prodigal brother returns.
The fuck is this Joker?
Oh, ladies. This is Kane Burgess, Lincoln's little baby brother. Looks like someone set fire to your head and put it out with a shovel. Still not all bad, eh?
Alright! Looks like we're having a lock-in, Bess.
While reloading his gun, one of them tried to rush in and grab the weapon, but he didn't expect Kane to shoot him within a second. The others were too terrified to speak. Kane ordered everyone to take out their phones and drop them into a glass container filled with water. Despite having their lives threatened, the gang members still held a grudge against Kane for killing Rook. Kane's testimony didn't match Toon's, and Toon tried to act tough, denying that he had lied. That was until Kane pulled out a black plastic bag. Inside was Rook's severed hand. But that was just the appetizer. Kane's ultimate target was his own brother. He told Hyde to call Lincoln and arrange a meeting at the bar to talk about recent events.
Yeah, it's me. Need you to come down to the jockey. It's about Rook.
Kane then abruptly ended the call. 20 minutes later, Lincoln knocked on the door. Kane held Hyde at gunpoint and ordered the bartender to open the door. Lincoln entered with a few burly henchmen. Clearly, he still didn't know what had happened until he saw his beloved little brother in such a miserable state. He hadn't imagined the two of them would reunite under these circumstances. Kane was seething with rage, but now wasn't the time to explode. Weapons and phones were placed on the bar counter. Kane ordered Lincoln and his men to hand over their phones and take off their pants to confirm they weren't carrying any weapons, then told them all to line up.
Bess, do me a favour, do us another pint with a nice hefty head, would ya? You're not the one in charge around here anymore. I am.
Is he alright?
He's unconscious.
Lincoln checked the doorman's breathing. He seemed to have stopped breathing. One of Lincoln's men said that Rook had also been killed by Kane. Clearly, they had no idea about the grudge between the two brothers. Kane began to recount everything he had been through. For 7 years, I lived in the shadows of violence, never knowing where the danger would come from or who the enemy was. I was stabbed 6 times, broke more ribs than I can count. And this scar on my face, every bit of it was a gift from Lincoln. But Lincoln had his reasons too. He had planted one of his men inside the police department, the very corrupt cop who had brutally tortured Kane years ago. That cop had told Lincoln that Kane had spilled everything during the interrogation, which is why Lincoln became determined to kill him.
Evans played you for a fucking fool. Told you a bunch of lies because he knew that you were gullible enough to fall for it. You're trusting a bent copper over your own flesh and blood.
The cop had given false information claiming that Kane had snitched on Lincoln and then profited from it. Clearly Lincoln had been deceived too, but he chose to trust a dirty cop over his own flesh and blood. He even put a hefty bounty on his little brother's head. That kind of betrayal couldn't be forgiven so easily. Lincoln had a hard time believing he'd been tricked, so he demanded that the cop be called in to confront him. But what he didn't know was that the first thing Kane did after escaping prison was to kill that cop. Even at this point, Lincoln still tried to persuade Kane to turn back before it was too late.
You're not thinking straight, Kane. Did you get to see her?
Yeah, I saw her. You know, if I got there 20 minutes earlier, hold her hand, tell her I loved her. And where the fuck were you? You had shit to deal with, did you? More important than our dying mother.
Don't fucking guilt trip me on that one, please. Who do you think organised every day for her to be picked up and taken to fucking hospital?
Because of you. I was inside.
You was the one who went and got fucking nicked. You knew the risks. No one made you do it.
You let me in, and he threw me under the bus.
No. It was Mrs. Liddell. By you. Listen to me. I know that life hasn't been great